You keep telling yourself you're fine, that this is just how things are right now. But there's that moment when you wake up in the morning before the day even starts, where something sinks in your chest. Not panic, not exhaustion, but a quiet sense that you don't really have a say anymore. Like life is happening to you and your role is to just deal with it. That belief is the problem. Because a lot can be taken from you. Money, time, comfort, status, plans, people. One phone call can undo years of effort. But you already know this. Experience taught you that control over events is mostly an illusion. But there is one thing that never gets physically removed from you. Your ability to choose what something means. Not the event itself, but the meaning that you attach to it. Right now, you're treating those as the same thing. Something happens and the interpretation arrives instantly, fully formed. This proves I'm failing. This means I'm not respected. This means I'm behind. You don't experience a situation first and then decide what it means. You experience the meaning directly as if it were a fact, but it isn't. Meaning is something you add so fast you forget you're adding it. A message doesn't get replied to and suddenly it's about your value. Feedback isn't warm enough and suddenly it's about your competence. One mistake doesn't stay a mistake, it becomes evidence. One bad day becomes a verdict on your life. You're not reacting to reality, you're reacting to a story about reality. And that's why you feel stuck, because you can't change what you believe is objectively true. If you think that your interpretation is just how it is, then every reaction feels justified, every avoidance feels sensible, every retreat feels smart. You call it being realistic, but it's not realism, it's familiarity. Your brain does this because it wants certainty. Quick meanings feel safe. If you decide something is hopeless, you don't have to try. If you decide you're not capable, you don't have to risk being exposed. If you decide people can't be trusted, you don't have to be vulnerable. That's the trade. Less discomfort now, but less life later. Picture it like wearing tinted glasses that you forgot to put on. Everything looks darker, and after a while, you stop blaming the glasses. You start believing the world is just bleak. That's what happens when your first interpretation becomes your only interpretation. Power isn't controlling what happens next. You already know you don't have that. Power is the gap between what happens and what you decide it means. And that pause is where your freedom lives. And no, this isn't pretending that everything is fine. It's refusing to let one angle become the whole truth. A setback can mean you're finished, or it can mean that something needs adjusting. A rejection can mean you're unwanted, or it can mean that this wasn't your place. A hard season can mean you're weak, or it can mean you're being tested. Same event, different meaning, completely different trajectory. Here's the uncomfortable part. If you can choose your meaning, you can't keep outsourcing responsibility for your inner life. You can't stay a passenger forever. Passengers get sympathy, but they don't go anywhere. Passengers wait, passengers complain, passengers feel safe and stuck at the same time. And that safety is costing you. Look at the patterns you keep repeating. The same reactions, the same self-talk, the same moments where you shrink instead of respond. How many times have you said, "That's just how I am," when what you meant was, "I'm afraid to challenge this"? How many times have you blamed circumstances when you know you didn't push back against your own assumptions? Ask yourself honestly, if nothing changes about how you interpret things, then where does that leave you? Not in 5 years as a concept, in your mornings, in your relationships, in how you speak to yourself when no one's listening. You don't need a new mindset or a new personality. You need one new habit: catching the story. When something hits you today, notice the first meaning that shows up. Just notice it. I'm being disrespected. I'm falling behind. This proves something about me. And then treat it like a draft, not a verdict. Ask what else it could mean. Ask what you'd say to someone you cared about if they said this about themselves. That moment of questioning is the work. That's the strength. Not motivation, not confidence, but the ability to choose your interpretation under pressure. You'll forget, you'll react, you'll spiral, but that isn't failure, that's practice. This kind of work is invisible and nobody applauds it, but it changes how you move through everything else. The world will still disappoint you, people will still let you down, plans will still fall apart, but you're not required to hand over your inner authority every time something goes wrong. The one thing that can never be taken from you is your ability to decide what it means. And the moment you stop giving that away, you stop being breakable in the way you've been breakable for years. Not invincible, not untouched, just no longer owned.